Are you falling into the all-or-nothing dieting trap? Have you ever started a diet with the best of intentions, only to feel like you completely blew it after one little slip-up? Maybe it was a bite of cake at a birthday party, a handful of chips at a movie night, or even just a moment of weakness when a tempting snack crossed your path. And then, before you knew it, that one small moment snowballed into giving up on the whole plan. If that sounds familiar, you might be caught in what I call the all-or-nothing dieting trap. Let me ask you this. Why do so many people struggle to stick with their diets, even when they genuinely want to make a change? Why does it feel like a roller coaster of motivation, commitment, slip-ups, and then discouragement? The answer often lies in this very mindset, the belief that if you don't do everything perfectly, you might as well do nothing at all. Imagine this scenario. It's Monday morning, and you're feeling motivated and determined. You decide to cut out all sugar, carbs, and junk food cold turkey. You're on fire, ready to take on the week with strict discipline. But by Wednesday, there's a party, and you have one piece of cake. Suddenly, that one piece doesn't feel like a simple indulgence. It feels like a full-on failure. Your mind screams, "I've ruined everything. Might as well quit." And so you do. You give up entirely, telling yourself you'll start fresh next Monday. Sound familiar? This is the classic all-or-nothing mindset in action, where small mistakes are blown out of proportion and the whole effort feels wasted. It's a pattern that can trap anyone, leading to cycles of strict rules, binge episodes, guilt, and giving up. But why does this happen so often? Why does our brain trick us into seeing things in extremes, making long-term success feel impossible? Well, that's exactly what we're going to uncover in this video. We'll break down the psychology behind this mindset, explore how it impacts your dieting success, and most importantly, how to break free from it. Stick with me, because what you learn here might just change the way you think about dieting forever. Now let's break it down and see what's really behind this mindset and how it impacts dieting success. Why perfectionism derails. Healthy eating. Have you ever heard the phrase, "perfect is the enemy of good"? When it comes to dieting, this couldn't be more true. Perfectionism, that relentless drive to do everything exactly right, often backfires when it comes to healthy eating. Think about Sarah. She decided to eat perfectly clean foods only. No sugar, no processed items, nothing outside her strict list of approved foods. At first, she felt great, proud of her discipline. But on day 5, she accidentally had some salad dressing that contained sugar. That small slip felt like a huge failure. Instead of shrugging it off, she convinced herself she had ruined her progress. That evening, the guilt and frustration led her to binge on junk food. The cycle of perfectionism had trapped her again. What Sarah experienced is all too common. When dieting becomes about perfection, every little mistake feels catastrophic. The pressure to be flawless creates stress and anxiety, which often leads to burnout. Instead of learning from small errors and adjusting, people tend to throw in the towel. This kind of black and white thinking sets unrealistic expectations. It's like telling yourself, if I can't do it perfectly, I'm failing. Naturally, this mindset leads to frustration and discouragement because perfection in dieting, just like in life, is simply unattainable. Now I know what you're thinking. Perfect? Who can be perfect when it comes to food? Exactly. No one. And yet, many of us hold ourselves to these impossible standards, setting ourselves up for failure before we even begin. The truth is, healthy eating and sustainable weight loss is a journey full of ups and downs. It's about progress, not perfection. When you remove the pressure to be perfect, you gain freedom to make better choices more often, without beating yourself up for the occasional slip. So, what if there was a better way to approach dieting without the pressure of being perfect? Let's find out. The impact of black and white. Thinking on weight loss. Let's take a closer look at what I mean by black and white thinking, sometimes called all or nothing thinking. This cognitive pattern is where people categorize things as either all good or all bad, with no middle ground. When applied to dieting, it means seeing foods, behaviors, or even oneself as either completely good or completely bad. Meet John. He views foods strictly as good or bad. If he eats one bad food, like a cookie or a slice of pizza, he immediately believes he has ruined his progress. That belief makes him feel defeated, so he stops tracking his meals, skips workouts, and basically throws his hands up. This rigid thinking blocks any chance of gradual improvement. You see, this black and white mindset ignores the gray areas, the subtle middle ground where real, sustainable change happens. It's in the everyday choices between extremes, not in the extremes themselves, that lasting habits form. Why do people fall into this trap? One reason is that black and white thinking simplifies complex decisions. It's easier to label foods as good or bad than to navigate the nuances of balanced eating. But this oversimplification comes at a cost. It makes people feel like failures if they don't live up to their rigid standards. The problem is, life is messy, and so is eating. You're going to have days when you eat more, days when you eat less, days when you indulge, and days when you stick to your plan. The key is to embrace this variability without letting it derail your progress. Now here's a question for you. How often do you catch yourself thinking in extremes when it comes to food or dieting? Are you able to see the gray areas and practice flexibility? If not, don't worry. Changing this mindset takes practice, and I'm going to help you with that. Recognizing and overcoming black and white thinking is crucial for success. It allows you to develop a more balanced, flexible approach that supports long-term habits instead of short-term bursts of discipline. Now I'll show you how to start shifting your mindset toward more flexibility and balance. How small mistakes can become big setbacks. Have you ever noticed how one tiny mistake can sometimes feel like a massive failure? That's the power of the all-or-nothing mindset working against you. Small dietary slips, a cookie here, a missed workout there, can quickly escalate into full-blown setbacks, but not because of the mistake itself. It's the guilt and shame that follow that really sabotage progress. Take Lisa, for example. She ate a cookie after a long day and immediately felt guilty. Her mind told her, "I might as well give up now. I've ruined everything." That guilt spiraled into overeating for days, undoing much of her previous hard work. Now think about your own experiences. How often have you let a small mistake turn into a week or more of derailed progress? The mistake itself might be minor, but the emotional response can be explosive. Why does this happen? When you view your diet through an all-or-nothing lens, mistakes aren't just mistakes. They're seen as moral failures or proof that you lack discipline. This triggers shame, which is one of the most powerful forces that can stop progress in its tracks. But here's the good news. Small mistakes are normal and expected. Everyone slips up. What matters is how you respond to those slips. Instead of falling into guilt and shame, you can learn to see mistakes as part of the process, opportunities to learn and adjust. This shift in perspective is a game changer. It reduces emotional roadblocks and keeps you moving forward even when things don't go perfectly. So why does this guilt happen, and how can you change your emotional response? That's what we'll explore next. Building a balanced and realistic approach to dieting. Now that we understand how destructive the all-or-nothing mindset can be, it's time to talk about building a balanced and realistic approach to dieting, one that embraces flexibility, moderation, and self-compassion. Let's look at Mark's story. Instead of cutting out all treats, Mark allows himself a small dessert once a week. When he occasionally slips and has an extra cookie or a slice of pizza, he doesn't spiral into guilt. Instead, he reminds himself that this is a normal part of the journey and moves on without beating himself up. This mindset keeps him consistent over months, and he sees steady progress without the burnout or frustration that comes from rigid dieting. What Mark is doing is what I call embracing balance. It's about making healthy choices most of the time, but not punishing yourself for enjoying life's little indulgences. This approach prevents the all-or-nothing trap and supports long-term success. Balance means recognizing that food is not just fuel, but also a source of enjoyment and social connection. It means ditching extremes and focusing on consistency. A realistic approach also includes self-compassion. When you slip up, instead of criticizing yourself harshly, you treat yourself with kindness. You acknowledge that setbacks happen and that they don't define your worth or your ability to succeed. By building this kind of balanced mindset, you make dieting less stressful and more sustainable. Now think about it. How can you begin applying this balanced mindset today? Maybe it's by allowing a small treat this week or forgiving yourself for a recent slip. Small shifts like these add up over time. Next, we'll explore how support and accountability can help you stay on track and avoid falling back into the trap. The role of support and accountability in breaking the cycle. Changing your dieting mindset and habits is challenging, and you don't have to do it alone. One of the most powerful tools to break the all-or-nothing cycle is having support and accountability. Consider Emily. She joined a supportive online community where members openly share their struggles and victories. When she felt like quitting after a slip, the group reminded her that progress is about consistency, not perfection. That encouragement helped her get back on track instead of giving up. Support can come from friends, family, coaches, or groups that understand and encourage you. It provides motivation, perspective, and a sense of belonging that eases the emotional burden of dieting. Accountability partners can help you stay honest with yourself. They remind you of your goals when your own motivation wanes. They celebrate your wins and help you reframe setbacks as learning opportunities. Having this external support makes it easier to avoid the all-or-nothing trap because you're not isolated in your journey. When you stumble, someone is there to remind you that one mistake doesn't erase your progress. Think about your own support system. Do you have people who encourage you and hold you accountable? If not, consider seeking out communities or partners who can help you stay balanced and motivated. Now, why does mindset matter most, and how can you cultivate a growth-oriented approach? Let's explore that next. Cultivating a growth mindset for lasting change. If there's one mindset shift that can transform your dieting journey, it's adopting a growth mindset. This means seeing dieting not as a pass-fail test, but as a learning process, an ongoing experiment where mistakes are opportunities to grow, not reasons to quit. Take Alex's story. After failing multiple diets, he started viewing each day as an experiment. When he slipped, instead of feeling defeated, he asked himself, "What can I learn from this? How can I do better tomorrow?" Over time, his habits improved steadily because he stayed curious and resilient. A growth mindset fosters resilience. It helps you bounce back from setbacks and keeps you engaged in the process. It allows you to celebrate small wins and understand that progress isn't linear. This mindset is the antidote to the all-or-nothing trap because it teaches you to embrace imperfection as part of the journey. It removes the fear of failure and opens the door to sustainable change. Imagine how different your dieting experience could be if you approached it as a series of experiments rather than a strict test. Every choice, every meal, every slip is data that helps you improve. Now I'll show you how to put these ideas into practice starting today. Conclusion: escape the all-or-nothing trap and thrive. As we wrap up, let's reflect on what we've covered. The all-or-nothing mindset is a major barrier to successful dieting, setting us up for cycles of strict rules, guilt, and giving up. But by understanding why this happens, the perfectionism, black and white thinking, and emotional responses, we can start to break free. We've talked about embracing balance and flexibility, practicing self-compassion, leaning on support and accountability, and most importantly, cultivating a growth mindset. These are the keys to turning dieting into a sustainable, positive journey. Now think about your last diet attempt. Did a small mistake lead to giving up? What if you tried a different mindset next time? one that allowed for slips without shame, one that valued progress over perfection. It's possible to escape the all-or-nothing trap. It starts with awareness and the willingness to change your approach. Start small, stay flexible, and remember, progress beats perfection every time. If you found this helpful, don't miss our next video where we dive into easy, realistic meal planning that supports your goals without stress. I'll see you there.